Hello, 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 everyone. I'm Coach TaShon, author, talk show host, and your certified relationship coach. This safe space for women has been created for weekly candid conversations about life's trials, challenges, and keeping the faith through the fire. So grab your favorite snack, your beverage, your blanket, or a journal, or all of them, and get ready to listen and celebrate these testimonies of truth, trust, and triumph. And today I have with me Miss Arlene Korleh. I know she's a personal friend of mine, so we know her as Retta.
That's me.
So help me welcome this awesome, dynamic woman of God, this woman on fire. She doesn't give herself enough credit, but this lady is the bomb. Let me tell you that. She is the truth.com. How you doing, Arlene?
I am wonderful, Trinette. How are you, Coach TaShon? Let me say it that way. I am wonderful. Honored to be here.
Look, I'm so glad to have you. I know you don't like talking about yourself, but I'm going to tell the world a little bit. This lady is responsible for me. She's going to tell you who she is and what she does, but I just want to say she is responsible for me pivoting out of the classroom because she coached me through the transition from being a teacher in the classroom after 25 some years to doing this full time. And I encourage everyone to get with a coach because you definitely need it. She literally helped me for about those like the last 6 months of me transitioning from the classroom and so forth. And she is phenomenal. You are phenomenal. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So, with all that being said, tell us who you are and what you do.
But thank you for that, Trinette. And everyone, she's given me too much credit, trust me. But I am honored to know Trinette. Again, I want to first thank her for having me on her awesome platform, Woman on Fire. I have been inspired by her and this platform for the longest. And it's just an honor to be here. So thank you. And just thank you. So,
Yo,
just and your wonderful audience out there, just to tell you a little bit about me. Yes, it's not easy talking about yourself, but I am also always going to say a child of God, like you say, thank God. A proud mother of a beautiful young 24-year-old adult. And now I know I look
right.
21, but I do have a young lady that's in my life that she has been the joy of my life. And professionally, I'm in corporate America still, and personally doing things on my own, just like you are. Well, maybe not to that level, but trying to get some things going on the outside with coaching, speaking, and running the podcast, the Path Podcast. So that's a
Yes.
little bit about me.
That's a lot, believe it or not. And I don't want you to downplay it. This is your time to shine because everything that you're doing, it aligns. And one thing
Yeah,
about us, um, this everything is aligned with each other. You know, your podcast, your coaching, and all of that. And that's the purpose of Woman on Fire podcast, so that we can show other women, listen, there is life after all of these trials and
yeah.
tribulations, you know, and I'm super proud of you. So
Thank
I want you to take us
you.
back where it all started, because you
Mhm.
say you're in corporate America, and she kind of hid over that. She kind of slid over the coaching and the past podcast, y'all. But she gonna get into that because it is
Yes.
very needed for us,
Mhm.
especially women. She specializes in it. But before we get there, tell us how your journey started.
Well, I don't know how far we want to go back. It's not that far, everyone. I'm only 20, look 21, like I said. But
That's
if I
right.
go further back, ah, we all have. The one thing I love to say on the Path Podcast, we all have a story. So
Hmm.
definitely, my story and my journey started many, many years ago. And if we talk about some of the most impactful times that I can remember, first, Coach TaShon, is when I was 12 years old. 12 years old. And like she said, everyone knows me by Retta. If you call me Retta, I am in South Carolina, the big state of South Carolina, raised in a neighborhood full of love, full of love,
Mm-hmm.
full of
Yeah.
family. Everybody around me is just family, and it was all about love. And
Mm.
being this little girl in South Carolina, uh, 12 years old, the biggest thing that happened is, look, I lost my mother. At
Mm.
12 years old, my mother passed. I can remember the day. I remember her seeing her not feeling well. And,
Mm-hmm.
because I was so attached to her. I was so
Yeah.
attached to her. I was that little girl who cried when she went to kindergarten and
Oh,
lied that she was sick because she wanted to go back home to be with her
yeah.
mom. I was just somebody who was attached to my mother. And
Mm.
so
Okay.
I remember, uh, Trinette, it was to the point in South Carolina where the nurse was going to take me home. I didn't know how to get to my house, so my brother had to go with us to drive me back home. But I, I just wanted to be with my mom. So
Yeah.
again, at the age of 12, my mother got sick, and it was so hard because
Yeah.
it was something that we know that's today that is curable.
Yeah.
And I must, if I be honest, everyone out there, I remember going with my mom to her doctor's appointment before she really got ill. And I
Mm.
remember going in the doctor's appointment, and this may tell some of my age. We were in a doctor's office where some of the Caucasian people sat on one side and more of the
Mm-hmm.
black people sat on one side. It wasn't a
Mm.
sign that say that you had to do that, but
Right.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I'll put it out here. You cannot tell me I felt like those people just, maybe just didn't treat her the way she needed to be treated. And for
Mm.
it was yellow jaundice that she had. And
Okay.
you can't tell me that for some reason I think they gave her something bad
Mm.
in there, that because they could
Yeah.
not. My dad, they always say it comes from different places, and all the
Yeah.
places at least they checked with the people that they could check didn't come
Yeah.
from anybody. So
Mm.
yes, so I lost my mother at the age of 12. I have two siblings, older sister and a brother. So my sister
Yeah.
was 16, my brother was 15, and that was something just unexpected.
Yeah.
No child
Yeah.
expects to lose a parent at
Right.
12.
Right.
And so
And so you lost your mom at that pivotal age, that going into the teenage years, especially
yes,
for a girl and so
yes,
forth. So I can imagine the next set of years for you. Like
yes.
how was that?
Oh my gosh, Trinette. It's hard to say because let me say it this way. We were so blessed to have so many loving people around us.
Mm. Yeah.
So it was how much, yes, we missed her.
Yeah.
It's just still that we had aunts and uncles that were around us on both sides of our family. My
Yeah.
dad's family, where we lived right next door to us. My
Okay.
mom's family, most of her siblings were most of them in Savannah, the Savannah area
Okay.
at the time, and still is somewhat. And so
Right.
we had my dad family right next to us, and my aunts that my mom's siblings, near and far still, but Savannah was the farthest at the time.
Yeah.
And so having all of everybody around us,
Yeah.
they made it as easy as it could be for children still to lose a parent. So
Yeah.
it was not easy. So my dad's siblings who were older, they would come over
Yeah.
and help us spring clean the house and do the
Okay.
different things like that, but sometimes
Yeah.
cooking. And my dad, I remember my aunt Gert in Savannah. My aunt Gert was the one who took us school shopping, and she would do
Okay.
all of those different things like that. I think
Yeah.
for years, and if she ever hears this, I think for years I didn't know what size undergarments I wore because my aunt Gertrude was the one who made sure I had it, and I'm sure Linda and my brother as well. So,
Yeah.
she took care of us in that school shopping and doing those things to help us in that way, as well as the people who were also the other extended family that were cousins and everybody right there. But it was just
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
hard. And being a little girl, I remember being scared. I would be scared to go to the bathroom because I was afraid I was going
Mhm.
to see her. Not because I was afraid of my mom, but
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
child. I'm not used to it's just
Right.
like I was just afraid. I didn't know what to do about
Yeah.
that part. But my mom always came to me in a dream. So I
Mhm.
felt like every time she was visiting me, and it was always a peaceful dream, or she was alive, or different
Yeah.
things like that. So it was hard, but thankfully, because of the love around us, that's the only
Mhm.
thing I can keep talking about. It's just
Yeah.
that we were so loved, thank God.
Yeah. And that's a blessing because, as you know, I lost my mother and you were very
Yeah.
instrumental in my healing and still continuing to heal and so forth. And I
Yeah.
thank you for that because even losing my mother as an adult, I can only imagine like as a child.
Yes.
But you said that you were very blessed to have that village. We always talk
Yes.
about, your village and so forth, but you actually had that village that said, listen,
Mhm.
we got to this is where we step in. And so
Yes.
many families, believe it or not, they don't have that village. And it,
Yes.
it breaks my heart because the children end up going into foster
Yeah.
care. Family doesn't want to take. It's always some hoopla. And I've always said I don't understand that. Even if you
Exactly.
cannot afford it, I just cannot see. But that's
Mhm.
for many reasons, different reasons. But I'm so thankful that you had a family that continued to mold you and
Yes.
and continue to build you as your mother set that foundation for you,
Yes.
and your
Mhm.
family came in and boom. And you can see it, like you can see how the woman that you turned out to be and so forth. So your mom never missed a beat in raising you, and
No,
that's a
I know.
blessing. That's a
And we
blessing.
always just wonder because I would ask. I remember in the earlier years, I would ask my sister, let's talk about mom, because she had more time with her, and believe it or
Yeah,
not, I think it was harder for her, you know,
yeah,
more than different. It was different, and to your point where you were making a point of being an adult losing a mother,
yeah.
I would always tell people we should never look at it as thank God you had her longer.
Yeah, yeah,
It's still
yeah.
hard. And it's still
Yes,
hard because you had her longer, even in more years. Mine was on the level of a child, yours on the
yeah,
level of an adult, and
yeah,
still so much more time. And so it's
yeah,
still everybody's pain is different, but
yeah.
just as strong and powerful for anybody.
Right.
And nobody
Yeah,
can understand that. But my sister, I could
yeah.
tell it was different for her. She handled it
Okay.
differently, I know. And she
Yeah.
didn't, I'm a talker. My
Okay.
siblings are not talkers like I am.
Okay.
I don't know how I got this gift, but they said that, some people probably would say it's a gift. Is it a gift? But
You're right.
they don't talk as much as I talk. And that's the
Okay.
same with my dad's side and my mom's
Yeah.
side, of course. You have some that may talk a lot and some don't. But my
Right.
siblings don't talk as much. And my sister never was the one who wanted to just talk about it. She kind of like
Okay.
in the beginning. She'll talk about it
Yeah.
now, but in the beginning, yeah,
Yeah.
she just didn't really want to talk. And I was that one just wanted to talk about mom, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it was something that we both all can say that was not easy, but we're thankful
Yeah.
again, just like you said, to the point of having that village around us. And I remember when for Mother's Day going home when we used to go
Yeah.
home because we would go and spend it with our daddy and we started making it more going Father's Day instead. But I remember
Okay.
being at our home church at one year and my aunt Gert, who lives in Savannah, would always come. A lot of my dad's siblings, unfortunately, the closer ones had passed by that time, some of them.
Okay.
And I remember getting up in church and saying that, you find those blessings that come out of something that's so painful. And the thing I
Yeah.
told everybody that I knew came out of it is it's like I gained so many more mothers.
Mm.
That was the benefit of, if anything, it wasn't that they would not have been there still, but they
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
would have still just had different roles again. But to
Yeah.
have everybody there, it's like I knew what it was to have, like other like a bunch of mothers in my life.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
was just blessed. I just wish that, yes, I still wish it was my mom. No one can take her place. Like,
Right.
no one can take our
Right.
mother's place. But
Right.
still I'm just thankful again.
Yeah.
I can't reiterate how much I was thankful for that. That's what I
Yeah.
remember about those times in the months after.
And it's just such a blessing because again, so many again, the purpose of this podcast is to help other women
Yeah.
um move forward because the grieving part of that,
Mhm.
so many people will lose a parent or or a spouse or whatnot, and the grieving can take
Yeah.
them and never move forward. And
Yes.
so even though you grieved, and they said grieving, it heals with time and so forth. Um, but you were blessed to have that, like you said, the village, everyone took to
Yes.
you, so it's never an easy process,
Never.
but you
Never.
never, you were not alone in it. So it's like
Hmm.
everybody understood, and they tried to make it as normal, because you have now a new normal. You
Exactly.
have a new normal.
Exactly.
So I'm so
Exactly.
grateful, and I'm so thankful that you're able to share that, because again, there are a lot of women that are listening, and they may be in that place of,
Yes.
I lost my mom, but I don't know how to move on.
Yes.
I don't know what to do, because, and I don't know if you've experienced it, but I remember people, and I know people mean well.
Hmm.
I really do.
Yes.
But then, like you said, they'll say, well, at least you did have your mom for such and such a long time.
That is.
Or, what, she's in a better place. And
Mm-mm.
remember, I remember somebody said that to me, and the person was really, 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 and it becomes that normal talk. Well,
Yes.
she's in a better place. And I just remember saying, I don't want her in that place.
Exactly. But to your point, Trinette, thank you for saying that, because I learned later during the podcast
Yeah.
from she's a nurse, and she deals with families who lose their children have uh, diseases that are not curable,
Yeah. Yeah.
unfortunately. And she
Yeah.
said that's one of the things you never tell somebody. Well, no, she said someone told the little girl when she lost her mother, no,
Mm-hmm.
when the mother lost her little girl, that,
Mm-hmm.
no, 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 I'm sorry, sorry. It was a little girl who was losing her brother. And when
Mm.
she lost him, this person said that they're in a better place. And the little girl said, no, he would have been better. He would have been better with me.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, and so that's the thing. She said, people, they don't mean, they mean well, but
Yeah.
those are things I've learned to change what I say to people as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
to your
have
point
to.
of you had her longer. Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't make it better.
Right. It's
I
like,
lost my mother.
right.
It's like,
And you're right. People really don't know what to say, and,
yeah,
again, we know that they don't mean any harm, but I also, it's part of that education piece.
it's
And
part of the
I
education.
want people to start understanding, that,
Yep.
listen, this person may have lost a mom, and you may look at it differently, but that
Yes.
grieving can really stumble somebody. It
Yes.
can really just keep them there
Yeah.
in that place, and never
Hmm.
move forward. And
Exactly.
so with you, you went through this period, and I know it
Hmm.
wasn't easy, but you were blessed to have the village with you
Yes.
to move you along. So now you're going into your teenage years,
Hmm.
you're graduating. Now you're
Yes.
becoming an adult.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now and you know what? I don't even like to say the motherless child type of deal.
Yes.
I'm still learning how to say all of that.
Yeah.
But our reality is now that you're moving from past the teenage years, and I know that was probably a challenge,
Yep.
and then you're moving to now the adult. Did
Hmm.
you feel like any sense like, okay, what do I really do now? Like, because
Yes.
I know my mom would have given me this advice or whatnot. Like, did you know what you wanted to do, or did you stop dreaming, or what?
Yes. And let me say this first. Let me go back. And when my mom passed, I was going into like fifth grade, and just going
Okay.
through those periods where she missed my fifth grade graduation. She,
Yeah.
of course, like you said, then going into about to eventually go into high school, going into
Yeah.
that, then she missed my high school graduation. And
Yeah.
then, making, like you say, some of those major decisions now, it's like, okay, what are
Yeah.
you going to do? And
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, that's the good thing. I think it was great being from a small town for me. Just as my
Okay.
story,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Being from that small town, our schools were small. If I tell you how many
Okay.
people was in our school, you'll be like, okay, that's probably some people. My daughter's graduating class, probably the whole ninth through 12th grade, eighth through 12th grade for us at the time. So, but it was such a close knit group of people that our
Yeah.
guidance counselor was like, oh gosh, the way he would get on us and everything, we
Yeah.
knew we had to go to college, and we knew we had to do all of that, because
Yeah.
being raised with my dad was that one who was still like the breadwinner. He's going to work.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
in his generation, it was go to college and get a
Yeah.
job, you know,
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
work, you know, get a pension. That was the back in the day.
Right.
And my dad wasn't the one who was like had to beat it in us. It's just that we knew we were
Okay.
going to do what he said we should be doing. And
Right.
even though he didn't push us to go in
Yeah.
one direction, but
Yeah.
still we just was those kids just like we do what we knew what we had to do. But
Mm.
I'm thankful to the guidance counselor and the teachers
Yeah.
I've had and some of my friends. I must admit it was the connections with the friends I've had that I
Okay.
knew I wanted more. So I
Mm.
think it was just always in me to just
Yeah.
know I wanted more. So I knew I was going to go to college. And
Okay.
so me and my friends, of course, you know, you get with your friends. So you're thinking
Yeah.
maybe not college just to get that degree, but me and my
Right.
friends going to college. And that's the way I looked at it. But look, not going far from home now. I wasn't that city girl who was trying to go far from home. But yeah, so we just decided we're going to, of course, we all going to college. And
Right.
decided in, you know, during with our class and everybody who was,
Yeah.
you know, on that route. And I did well in school. I wasn't top of the class. Don't get me wrong,
Okay.
whoever hear this from the school. Wasn't
Right.
near valedictorian, but I was in the top 20,
You in
at
that
least
top.
20,
Ooh, that's
the
good.
20%. Yeah, the school wasn't big, remember now. So so but still, you know, I was in that group of people who was trying to do more. And
Okay.
thankfully I was able to say, okay, I'm going to college.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what else is there to do in South Carolina but go to school? So thankfully I was on that track because
Okay.
let me tell you,
Yeah.
it's not like I did anything special. I
Okay.
could have been a person who still didn't do it. It wasn't like again that they drilled it in me that I had to do it. It's just
Yeah.
thankfully I took that route to go to college.
Got you. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I did. Claflin University. Woo-hoo,
Let's
you all talk
see.
about your HBCU. Claflin University is one of the top HBCUs
There
out
you go.
there. We're gonna give a
HBCUs.
woohoo to our
There you go. You better
HBCUs.
shout it out. You can better shout it out. This is the only time I'm
Thank
gonna let you shout
you.
it out.
Thank you. Claflin got some look. I think they got some money. I know. So yes, right next door. If anybody wants, you don't know where it is right next door to South Carolina State College.
See.
Yes, everybody
But
knows South
listen,
Carolina State College.
that's what you're supposed to do. You know,
Yeah,
because again, it's the village, you know, and I just keep going back to
yeah.
your
Mhm.
village that pushed you through. Like you said
Yes,
something, you said you wasn't doing anything special, but you
yeah,
were, you
yeah,
know, without really thinking about it. You're just, and even it's with your personality now, it's just like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, you
yes,
know, and I'm not going to sit here and sweat about it. This is what I'm
yes.
going to do. And
This is
believe it
what
or
I'm.
not, you paved the way for other young women at that time who looked at you and
Yeah,
said, wow, you know what? She went through this, that, and the other, and she's still moving forward. Like
yes,
she is on that path.
exactly.
So, you
Yeah,
know,
yes, yes. And let me
so,
tell you, I'm
uh-huh.
sorry. No, go
No,
ahead.
no, no, go ahead. I told you
Let me
this
tell
is
you.
your show.
Let me tell you one thing. I'll say too. What I love when I was in high school, I still even after everything, like you said, after losing my mom, I was always kind of like that one. I was running for office. I was always
Mm,
running. I was either freshman president, vice president, or running for class president. And in my
yeah.
senior year, I was our student government president.
Oh, you
So
were
with
smart.
being the student government president, I knew, it just I was always that.
You were smart. That was that smart HBCU.
I'm thankful. We had one of our favorite teachers, Mr. Brown, and he passed about
Yeah.
a year or two ago. He was the
Okay.
favorite of all of us. And, just I think it was we had some wonderful teachers around us, even in that small
Yeah.
school, that always
Yeah.
looked like Mr. Brown would walk around. This is now, this is kind of back in the day with a pipe in his mouth in school.
In school.
In school.
You know what?
He had a pipe.
I'm
He
in the
never had it lit in class, but he had a
uh
pipe in his mouth and had a three-piece suit on almost every day. That's
Wow.
yeah,
In school.
that's what we would see sometimes. It wasn't every
Yeah.
teacher, but he was that one that everybody loved. And he was that one
Yeah.
that you did not play with, but he still was the fun teacher. And
Yeah.
he was the one who knew all the lingo that for the young people, but still he always walked around like a man, carried himself like
Mm.
an honorable man. And
Yeah.
he had a
Yeah.
pipe in his mouth, but he never lit it.
Wow.
Like I said, but he always he looked like a gentleman, always.
Oh.
And so, when we saw some of those types of teachers, and I have some more amazing ones that are out there that
Yeah.
I can call their names, but it's still teachers like that. And our
Mm.
guidance counselor who would he would say some choice words to us, but get us on track. And it's just having people like that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just had to go back and say that part. And
Yeah.
to say, so when I ran for like student government president and different things like that, it was just always in me. I wanted to be like, not that I was looking to be a leader, but I just enjoy
Yeah.
being in some of those roles and
Mm.
just doing things like that. It was just fun to me. And so I
Yeah.
think college was that next level with the type of people that molded all of us, I believe, and just put us on that
Mm.
track or that path, like we said.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so thankfully, again, it was a blessing to have people like that in my life,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
honest.
That
Yeah.
you may think that is small,
Yeah.
and but it's not. It's a huge deal because
Yeah.
again, you and I both know that we've encountered women who given up on life.
Yeah.
And this is one part, this was one trial that you had to
Yes.
go through. And so for me, I just appreciate you talking about it because again, it's part of your
Thank you.
healing journey, it's part of your path,
Yes.
but
Hmm.
you're also able to help other women along that because again,
Yes.
I know your goal is to help women to move
Yes.
forward and to say, you know what, there is life after
After.
these things because life is
Yes.
going to happen, and we
Hmm.
don't expect. You didn't
We
expect to
don't.
lose your mother. You
Not at
don't. You
all.
don't expect that. If you
Yeah.
were like me, I called it La La Land because I just knew my entire family, we were gonna live and die
Yes.
together. Like
Yes.
that was my goal. I knew it's like you have it planned out. It's like, okay, my parents are gonna get old to
Yes.
98, 99, and we're gonna make it through. We're gonna have a great like you plan it. So you never think about
Yeah.
in the unexpected. And then when
Exactly.
you lose, you can take other things and you
Yeah.
can take going being bankrupt or losing your
Yes.
car, but when you're losing a loved
Yeah.
one, it's a whole
Yeah.
different ball game. So for
Totally.
you, just to hear and just to see you move through, continues to move. And I want women to understand, y'all. She's giving us snippets. So
Yeah.
she went through, she can't go back through all every day,
Yeah.
but once
I
you
cried.
understand that,
Trust me.
right. You had the snot tears.
Yeah. I had my snot tears.
You had those
Yeah.
like those moments like, why God, why you have to take my mama? Why
Why?
you have
Oh,
to
I
take,
asked that. Hmm.
you have that, and women, I want y'all to understand that this is part of that journey. You're going to be
Yes.
mad, you're going to be upset,
Hmm.
you're going to be frustrated, you're going to be
Yes.
jealous, you're going to ask
Yes.
God, you're going to be
Hmm.
mad with God. I don't know
Yes.
about you, but I was kind of ticked off with God for a minute. I was
Yes.
like, look at you now, Jesus.
Yes. And you know
you
what?
know
And I think at 12, I don't know if I knew to get mad at him or not at the time, but I
Mm,
did ask, why my
yeah,
mom? And then when you
yeah,
look at, like you said, the jealous, yes, I looked at other people and it's like,
yeah,
why can they have their mother? Oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
gosh, yes. And why my
yeah,
mom? My mom was only 38 years old.
yeah, yeah,
When I
yeah,
think about when I got to 38 myself, I'm like, it was, it was, it was interesting to me because I'm like, wow, this is my mom's
yeah,
age. And
yeah.
and like you said, and everyone out there, even though I didn't go through, like, I can remember the night we came home from the hospital, and
Mhm.
I don't want to keep, like you said, going through, for the sake of time, but I can remember being home and everybody coming to the house. We just sat in the room, the kids,
Yeah,
because you don't want to be, the adults were in the living room and all of that.
yeah,
You
yeah,
don't, you just in shock. You just
yeah, yeah,
can't believe my mom is
yeah.
not gonna come back home that after she was in the
Right.
hospital already for a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
or maybe, yeah, a couple of weeks. I just could
Okay.
not believe it. My mom went through
Yeah.
in a coma. I remember walking
Mm.
in the hospital on Christmas Day with me and my family, my granddad and everybody, my dad and siblings, and we heard her loud cry in the hospital, and that was my mommy pain. And so,
Mm.
and for me not to cry now, to let you see
Yeah,
how serious it is,
yeah,
it I should have said that part to say when the doctors told us that was her because she was in pain, it
yeah,
made me also say later on, I'm glad my mom wasn't in pain
yeah,
anymore.
yeah, yeah,
And everyone out there that still didn't take the pain of me losing her,
yeah, yeah.
but at least I knew she was no longer in pain
Yeah,
where I mean, I promise you, you can tear. I mean, I can
yeah,
really cry when I can hear it when I
yeah.
walked in the
And
hospital.
you know, this is that moment. Don't apologize for, because
Yeah.
again, people don't understand it, because that pain does stop you from
Yes.
living. I don't know
Yes.
about you, but I remember telling you, for me, I'm like you. I remember seeing my mom in the pain, and and I remember my sister. We were fussing with. Well, she was fussing with the doctor. You know, my sister. Can't
Yeah.
you save her? This or that. And I gently, and I knew it was all God that was speaking through me. I said, let her go. She was in pain. I don't want to
Yeah.
see her in pain. Yes, we want her. We want them healed. The
Yes.
physical. We want them. We want to save them.
Of course.
But when you hear and you see your loved ones go through that pain, you like, dear Jesus, because
Yes.
at this moment there's no other cure for, or if it can't be, repaired, or you don't want them to see it just sitting there. We had a choice that either she
Yeah.
could stay on life support, but that wasn't a
Right.
life for my mom, and I'm pretty
Mm-mm.
sure that wasn't the life for your mom. And so
No.
you do
Not
have
at all.
to make peace with God at a
Yes.
certain level of your life. And that's what I want people to gather from your story. I want women to
Yes.
understand, at some point of your healing, you have
Yeah.
to not forget about it. You're
Not
not going to
forget. You
forget about the
can't.
pain, because like you
Yeah.
said, you can still hear the pain. I can still, I the it seems like yesterday I still remember being in the
Mhm.
hospital with my,
Yeah.
so it's still vivid.
Hmm.
But at some point on your journey, some point on your path, you have to make peace with God, and you have to
Yeah.
start your healing. And
Yes.
it's not to diminish the love that you have for your mom, or
Not at all.
or your loved ones, but it's like, in order for me to continue moving, because you have a call on your life to
Yeah.
open up for the other women, to help them
Yes.
move forward. So now
Yes.
you're like, okay, I'm in college.
Yeah.
I'm about to graduate from college.
Yes.
Now it's another world. It's like, okay, I don't know if you were able to breathe, or, like, but it was a lot for you. It
Yes.
was a lot. And
Hmm.
so now you're in college. You major. What was your major?
Oh, business with a concentration in marketing, business
Oh, see, she's
administration with a concentration in marketing.
business and marketing. She's smart again. Yep. See.
Ah, I don't think so. I'm not the one, y'all. It's not me she talking about. That's the other
So
ones
you
over there.
graduated from, how was your college years?
Oh, great. You know what?
Yeah.
I was always, I don't know why I was so like this little responsible kid seemed like, but I graduated uh in the 4 years, but it was fun, because my
Okay.
best friends were there with me, that
Yeah.
group of people. So college life was great. It was a
Yeah.
little country girl away from home for the first time. And
Just having the
so
time of your life on that
we
campus.
had fun. We had
Yeah.
fun. Believe it or not, we didn't do as much as I hear, and I'm like,
Yeah.
did I live? But in my world, I had fun.
Right. Right. We
I
had
had
fun
fun.
without social media. That we had
Exactly.
fun.
We had fun. I know, right? And let me
Right.
tell you, I don't know. I remember that when I found out I was going to graduate, and it was this one drink that everybody on campus used to always drink. And
Yeah.
and I used to always tell my friends, I said, I'm gonna drink that as soon as I know I'm gonna graduate. That thing should not have been sold on the market, I don't think. I don't know if everybody ever heard of Cisco, but Cisco should have never been.
What you say? What
That
you
thing should
say?
that thing should not have been sold. And so I think when I found out, I probably drank this much of it. Oh my goodness. Okay, that was a time I promise you, I'm like,
As
never
they
would I
say, we had
put
a
that to my lips
time
again.
last. Look,
Yeah,
I took my
yeah,
first drink after graduation from college, believe it or not. People could not
really.
believe it. Yeah, they could not believe it. I was like, I had went through college without drinking, because I
Yeah.
was trying to get out. I had already gotten on academic probation. So I was like, okay, I got to be on the straight and narrow. No
I
more
got this.
partying. Whatever. But my first drink, I think it was like a, what was it? Not, I was about to say old
Each
dog, but the E and
EJ?
J.
Yeah,
E and J,
E and
and
J,
I
E and
had,
J.
yeah, I had that, and I had some Cisco, I had the Hypnotic. Yeah,
No,
yeah, I was
not
messed
I
up, and
hope
they
you
kept
all in
telling me
one night.
one night. I remember
Oh
that
yeah,
night, it was all in one night. Yeah,
oh
me and
yeah.
Earl. That's when I learned about Earl
That's what you
over on
learn
that toilet, Earl.
early. Yes, yes, you're not the only one. That was,
But
and you can
again,
call that.
we I was like, I don't know but I was, happy. I'm like, I'm gonna have my drink and whatnot. But
Yeah,
like you said, you had a good time, you
we had a good time.
live,
Yeah,
you know,
yes,
and that's
and
what I
we have
want
to
women
do
to
that.
understand. You have those moments in your life where it's
Yes,
like it's not, you know, it bothers me sometimes when I hear women just, they feel like it's a dark cloud over their life, the entire
yeah,
life. And it's
no,
not.
mhm,
You're
it's
gonna
not.
go through
Not.
those patches.
Oh
You're gonna go
yes,
through those patches. And so in college,
exactly.
you like you said, you had a good time.
I had a good time in college. Yes, I did. I
Yeah.
pledge also. I pledge my
Okay.
beloved Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, of
Okay.
course, and met some of the most amazing uh, people on campus that I'm
Yeah.
friends with even to this day. So yeah, I had a wonderful college life. I even met
Yeah.
my ex-husband there.
Okay. Well, let's look. Good way to segue into that.
Well,
So
let
you
me
met him
take a
on
sip on
campus.
this one.
You want to sip on
Mhm.
that one?
I'll take a sip on that one as well with you.
That
I was gonna
college
try to
land.
go over that one, but yeah, that's where I met my ex-husband at in college.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So take us through
Yes.
that journey. So you had a good
Well,
time.
of course.
You had a patch. Then you moved through. You're in college, like you said. You had a good time, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you met the love of your life at that time in college. Did
She said,
did y'all see
"Ladies,
the facial expression?
ladies and gents." But you didn't have to go love of your life, Trinette. But
You know how we
this,
do. We be in
yeah.
love in
Oh yeah,
college.
that's true. That's true.
We be in
That's
love,
true.
honey. You don't
That's
see them
true.
red flags. We see them, but
Yes.
we color them. We
We
make them
color them.
green.
Yes. Yes. I met this my ex-husband my
Yeah.
freshman year. We were in a computer
Mm,
class together. And I'm sitting here
okay.
like this dude, sitting here. He was bugging me about this disc that he didn't have. Y'all, we had disc back then too. And and
Copy this.
you know, and we were all cool. We were friends and everything.
Yeah.
And so knew him from then. And I don't think we started dating until it was my junior year, sophomore,
Okay.
junior year, because I would see him on campus with his little child. He was a dresser. He had one day I saw him on campus with y'all with yellow shoes on. I should have known then. What man is comfortable wearing yellow? They were boots like. What man is comfortable wearing boots? Yellow at that. And, and,
Well, you can still
and
clear across the campus.
clear across the campus, you can see him coming from a mile away. But I
But that was
still
your
dated
boo.
him.
That was your
that, that was my
that was your boo.
y'all. And I'm gonna give him credit this day. He don't dress like that, but he's a dresser. I must admit. He but yeah, met him in I know that's tickle. We started dating in our junior year. Junior
Yeah.
year, he graduated no, it had to be my sophomore year because he graduated 2 years before I did. And he
Okay.
moved, so we were dating and he moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
And so I, always kept saying when I moved to Atlanta, he would come back and forth to see me. I was gonna
Okay.
move. Me and my best friend was supposed to be moving to Atlanta, but she skipped
Yeah.
out on me, I think, if she hears this. But yeah, so after graduating,
Yeah.
Moved to Atlanta with him. He was already
Wow.
here. And
Really?
what we say, the rest is history, even though it's a lot of history in there, y'all. It's a lot in there. You have to
So
hear it.
y'all moved to college. Y'all got married here in Atlanta, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Well,
And
we got married, yes, and then we had a wedding in South Carolina back home.
okay. Okay. Gotcha. And but
Yes.
so now your new life started here in Atlanta.
Yes. Let me
Brand
say
new.
this though. When I
Uh-huh.
graduated, I did go back home. I didn't want to leave my dad right away. So I said
Okay.
for that summer, I was like, I'm gonna go hang out the summer with my dad. And then I
Yeah.
told him I would move to to Atlanta because I couldn't tell my dad I'm moving when I'm not moving here with a man. So
Right.
but I was going to hang out with y'all. That's another story. I'm gonna skip over that one kind of fast. But but definitely I wanted to go stay with my dad and hang out with him for the summer. Girl,
Okay.
it's hard. South Carolina, it's very small. It's not
Okay.
the closest store is like 15 minutes away.
Oh wow.
And so I'm like, I can't hang out here much longer. So
Okay.
my best cousin in the world, she was dating, and so everybody was kind of doing their own thing.
Okay.
And so with
Got
that, I'm like, I got to go. So I
it.
think I
Yeah.
stayed here for maybe a month, and then
Okay.
I called him at the time and said, "Come get me." And the rest is history. I was in Atlanta after about a month later.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. So
that's how that.
you got up, you said, okay, it's time for me to move, coming to good old Atlanta,
Yes,
and you start your life.
started my life, and then
Started
we had to go ahead and get married because it's like we were not going to be doing all of that. Not my
right.
daddy's child. So
Yeah.
you- uh, we got married,
Okay.
had the wedding in South Carolina and everything, and
Yeah.
yeah, started our life. Young
Wow.
couple
Yeah.
doing things. Just the two of us. We had roommates at the first, and then we eventually, everybody after because he had a roommate before I came,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
we eventually split it up. And of course, because he was that person, I don't know if they were married yet, but they were getting married. And so,
Okay.
yeah, we just started our life. He and I working, hustling, trying to get everything.
Yeah.
And we were married for before we had our daughter it was 9 years before we decided to have her. We were in our 20s just enjoying
Okay.
life.
So
So
you wasn't trying to start a family right away.
no,
Okay.
I
Got
could
you.
not because it was like I was probably about 21, 22 still, and I'm like, I'm too young. So
Right.
we just
Right.
enjoyed hanging and partying with other
Yeah.
couples and having because my best friend and her husband was here, which was his best friend, another best friend. And so we just all hung and we just partied. We
Right.
y'all even grown adult parties. We would hang out and just party. I mean,
Yeah.
like house parties. We were doing stuff like that and different things
Right.
like that. So yeah,
So
that's what we did.
you were getting to know your husband. He was getting to
Yes.
know you, like you said, you were living. You were living your
Yes.
life. So you didn't graduate from college and be like, okay, I want a family. So you knew what you want in that sense
Yes.
of, I knew I wanted a family, but not right off the bat.
Not right
So
off. Yes.
y'all are enjoying yourself. Then your daughter is born.
Yes.
Then the marriage change.
Well, let me just say this. Before we had our daughter, I was pregnant once before, and I did have a miscarriage.
Okay. Okay.
Our first pregnancy, we were on a trip with a bunch of friends in Myrtle Beach. I knew I was pregnant, and
Okay.
while on the trip in Myrtle Beach, I would, not to be graphic, I went to the bathroom and saw blood.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
and I knew it, and I was in my early.
Pause right there. So now you went through your trial the first at 12, had a
Yes,
good run in college,
yes,
had another smooth run, you're getting married and so forth. Now here come another bump in the road.
another bump
The
in the
next
road.
that a
Yes,
lot of women are experiencing and never talk about it. Wow.
yes,
How did you
yes.
feel at that time?
It was shocking, Trinette, because
Yeah.
we weren't doing much. It was just like about four to five couples, and we
Yeah.
just hanging. not doing anything big near the pools and doing different things
Yeah.
like that. It was in my first trimester, so I knew I was pregnant, like I said. So
Right.
not doing anything major. And
Yeah.
so eventually then when I went to the bathroom and I came back and I told my husband at the time, I said, there's blood. So, we called my doctor and we
Yeah.
went to the hospital there in the Myrtle Beach area.
Okay.
And when they did an ultrasound on me, they did an ultrasound. They saw that the sac was still closed and everything. The baby was there. So
Yeah.
my doctor said, just, relax. And I told them where we were. And they said, well, just take your time. Just put your feet up and just go back and relax. And then we were just going to
Okay.
head back to Georgia the next
Okay.
day. So
Gotcha.
that's what we did. So we did that. And all the couples were just around us, just hanging
Yeah.
out, in our rooms and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
the next day we started taking that trek back. It was that Sunday. But so we
Hmm.
didn't do the whole trip back to Atlanta. What we decided to do was stop to my best friend's family's house to break up the
Okay.
trip. So we didn't do
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
Spent the night there. And then we went on to, after that Monday morning, we got up because we had an appointment first thing Monday morning to
Yeah.
come to my doctor's office. And now, Trinette, let me tell you, that was the part that I can never forget. When we had the appointment, went in, they did an ultrasound. The
Hmm.
young lady, when she did the ultrasound, she said, she just sitting there, has rubbing the thing on my stomach and looking at the
Yeah.
monitor. And she's just sitting there like, oh, there's nothing in there. Just out of the
Mm.
blue saying that. I looked at
Mm.
her and I'm like, she's like, I said, I'm sorry, excuse me. She said, yeah, she said, there's nothing in there. Just so nonchalant. And I'm sitting here like, how do you say that
Mm.
to a couple here or a mother even? And like it's just nothing. Like that's something I hear all the time.
Mm.
So the
Wow.
thing bothered me is so much. And so then my doctor came in and we talked and I complained because then
Yeah.
by that time I was going through the process of now planning to do a DNC, planning to do everything because now, after they, I've done several, talking to my doctor and everything. And I
Yeah.
complained about the young lady because I told him
Yeah.
she should never say that to any couple. You should never
Right.
just sit there out of the blue and just say, oh, there's nothing in there.
Oh
It
my
just,
God.
it was just how she was just so insensitive about it. And I
Yeah.
cried to filling out all the paperwork, filling out everything I had to do to plan for me and my, for my appointment to come in to do the
Right.
DNC. I
Yeah.
cried the whole time because the emotions, it was just there then because it's like I wasn't expecting this. So
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So that was one part of our journey before, I don't want to keep moving, but before we decided to, and let me just say it this way. So what we did is we got the appointment, had the
Hmm.
DNC, and let me tell
Okay.
everybody, here's another thing. I always pull positive things out of
Yes, you
painful
do. You
situations.
do. Yeah.
I can remember that when I was in there to do my DNC, and
Hmm.
I've been with this doctor, I'm still with this doctor to this day. I
Yeah.
remember this is what made me fall in love with him. When I
Yeah.
was in there going in, they were putting, he had already started administering the anesthesia to me. He was
Okay.
sitting there rubbing my hand, and
Mm.
he said, I want you to count back, Arlene, to,
Hmm.
just count back. I remember when I fell one time, I had to get stitches in my leg as a little girl. I remember
Yeah.
my mom holding my hand and rubbing
Mm.
my hand. I promise
Really?
you. And when he did that, it was just, I was at peace. And I told
Okay.
him later on, I'm like, that's when I fell in love with my doctor because it
Wow.
took me back to that memory of my mom rubbing my hand, just telling me,
Yeah.
just take your time and count back. Yeah. So that
Wow.
was just a pivotal moment that I know everybody may see that I make things don't sound so hard, but that was a
Yeah.
hard time.
Yeah. And it's a reason that that you don't make it hard because again, we're already going through the pain. So now
Yes.
we need to hear that sweet voice. We need to hear you and
Yeah.
you have this gentleness about you so it can help ease it. And
Yeah.
like you said, it's already painful. But when you
Yes.
can hear that gentle voice, it helps the
Yes.
situation. You know, you're
Hmm.
not there to take away the pain, but you're there to literally help people deal with it and cope with it and say,
Yes.
yes, this happened, you know. And I'm thankful that you're sharing this part of your story, because I know it is it was painful moment.
Yes.
But again, there are so many women, especially Black women,
So many.
that
Yes.
people like literally wash
Hmm.
over when they have miscarriages.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and that's a shocking that shock. I remember my mom talking about this before she had two miscarriages. And at that time I was young. I didn't
Yeah.
know, you know, I didn't know the instinct of it until I got older. I
Hmm.
never had a miscarriage, but you know, knowing other friends, and I said, wow, that's an emotional trauma.
That's
And for
emotional.
that doctor, for that nurse to just brush it over like nothing happened or
Yes.
whatnot, you know. So now you're adding on top of my pain that I'm already
Yeah.
going through, and now just
Hmm.
being insensitive. But believe it or
Yes.
not, that is still going on in 2023.
In 2023. Is that not it blows my mind.
It
It
is still,
blows
yeah,
my mind. And the
yeah,
part where they say they ignore, you know your body. And if you're
yeah,
saying something doesn't feel right, let me tell you, my niece just had twins about 7 months ago. And the one thing I kept telling everybody, my
yeah,
brother, because we all couldn't be at the hospital, y'all make
yeah,
sure if she tells y'all she feels a certain way, make sure somebody's there to make sure those nurses or anybody else pay attention to what she's saying. Because, we've
right,
heard a story about Judge Hatchett's daughter and or her
yeah,
daughter-in-law, and it was a daughter-in-law,
yeah,
yes. And,
yeah. It
those
was,
types of things. And like you said, with so many stories out there and
yeah,
what we're feeling and what we're going through. So we have to pay attention. Don't
yeah,
discount who I am. And I don't know if that
right,
lady, even that who, the way she said it to me, I just know, I don't know if she did that just because she didn't see me or what. But
yeah.
I made sure she complained about it to
I
say
know that's
don't
right.
do not allow her to do that to anyone else,
Yeah,
and say that
because
to anyone else ever again.
it could have broken you. It could
Yes.
have really broken you. And so that's
Hmm.
why the doctor came by. God knew your mom was there in spirit with you
Yes.
to comfort you. That
Yes.
that was all, you know, God comforting you, because that could
Yes.
have really broken you and you could have
Yes.
given up on life, you know.
Hmm.
And again, there's so many women who are going through that, you know, just the miscarriage part, and they
Yes.
don't understand life, or they don't have that, you know, that loving, supportive, you know, village behind them. And
Yes.
that in itself is a trial and a
That's
tribulation.
right. Yes, it is. It really
Wow.
is. And thankfully, after all of
Listen,
that,
no, I was
huh?
gonna say you really, when I talk to you, you're so gentle and calm with it. It's like that is that God given skill, and that not just skill, it's that strength that He's
Yeah.
giving you to be able to be there for other women. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, you again, you may think, oh, this is nothing, but this is a
That's
lot. This
it.
is a lot.
It truly is, and I always have to make sure. And when I sit down and think about some things, because
Yeah,
I'll promise you, I know we hadn't gotten there, but it's until I lost my dad in 2020. I told
yeah,
people, just when you went back and said to yourself, like, "Oh, our parents supposed to be here forever." It's crazy that, of course, I lost my mother, who I was closer to. I feel at the time.
yeah,
To your
yeah,
point, I had my dad way longer. Right now,
yeah,
it is shocking to me that he's not
yeah,
here. It
yeah,
is really different for me, I must admit. And
yeah,
I told it, and I'll tell everybody, for me to even go home to South Carolina is so different for me now.
mm,
It's not easy. I can tell you the
yeah,
truth. It's not easy. And
yeah,
and so that's why I can understand differently. It's a difference being 12 and when I
yeah,
lost my dad at around 52.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
51. Well, it's different. And
yeah,
the pain is no less. He was my dad and not my mom, but they're all are different. But you couldn't tell me my dad was going to be here until 190,000
right,
years, and I was
yeah,
going to be here 190, 100,
right,
200,000, 50,000 years. It's just like you said. When you said that, I was going
yeah,
to bring that up to say, I can't understand how I'm feeling, to be honest with you, but it's
Yeah.
different. It is
Yeah.
different.
And and
So
and I want women to understand that this is part of that life journey.
it
You
is.
don't know. I can be honest and transparent. That's one thing. We were Arlene and I are part of a cohort, group
Yeah.
of girlfriends, really, and business partners. And I had a moment last week.
Yeah.
I was like, because it's like you get through the hump and then boom, here comes something else, and then you
Yes.
just be like, okay, and you feel like giving up. And as a woman, you go through so much, not to say the men don't, but
Yes.
we're talking about the women. We wear so many hats. You're a mother, you're
Yes.
co-worker, you're a sister and daughter and all that. You have so many hats, but we keep it moving.
Yes.
However, I want women to understand it's not always easy to keep it moving. And I want women to understand you're gonna be in those dark places. You're
Yes.
gonna
It
be in those
happens.
dark places. I wish I could tell people, no, it's gonna be rainbows and
Yeah.
tutus every single day.
Exactly.
No, it's not.
Throw those fairy tale books out the door.
Some days you just really you don't want to
Mm,
get up out of bed.
thank you.
Some days you don't want to
Yes.
brush your teeth. You
Thank
just
you.
don't want to. And
Hmm.
that's the purpose of this podcast. I want women to understand the
Yes.
transparency, the realness of it. There are going to be
Yeah.
some dark days, but
Yes.
the blessing in all of this is you have to get yourself surrounded by a group of women,
Core group.
not just
Yes.
praying women, but women who
Yes.
believe in you and he say,
Yes.
listen, girlfriend, I know it's dark right now, but you
Yes.
gonna get up. Like y'all told me,
Yes.
it is what it is right now, but
Yes.
you gonna keep going.
You're
And
gonna keep
so just
going.
to hear you talk about the death of your mom,
Yeah.
then you had that good patch in college, you got married,
Yeah.
then boom, you had a miscarriage, and now you lost your father and you're moving. You kept
Yeah.
it moving. But
Yes.
that didn't mean that you did not have those days.
Yes, those days. I tell you, the rockiest days was because I'll try to speed it up for you. Where I, thankfully, after we had the
Fine.
first miscarriage, that
Yeah.
then my doctor told me at the time that he said it's not that you. He said if because I was asking him, why and what's causing it.
Yeah.
What do I need to do? And he said nothing right now. He said what we're gonna do is just, you know, take your vitamins and keep doing that. And if
Yeah.
it happens again, then we'll start probably doing more research. So he
Okay.
told you let my body rest. So we did
Okay.
all of that, did everything he said. We thankfully the next year got pregnant again, thank God, and voila, my beautiful
Wow.
little brown eye uh
Right.
little girl came. And thankfully, because you know what, it's hard because I just want to hug other women out there who
Yeah.
may not have that story. Because just last night, my daughter shared with a good friend of hers, because some of
Hmm.
her friends are starting to start families.
Yeah.
And one of her friends, unfortunately, she just told me she heard that she just lost a second.
Oh,
And I'm like,
wow.
no. And so
Wow.
no one knows why, but it,
Yeah.
you know what? I hope everybody out there just show love.
Yeah.
Just be mindful. We have to be sensitive to anybody who's, like you said, how we shouldn't say certain things when people lose a parent.
Yeah.
But for mothers out there and the
Yeah.
ones who are longing for it,
Yeah.
and looking at other mothers and
Yeah.
wondering why, that it is a hard. I
Yeah.
promise you, like you said, I wish we could say we could, this life would be easy. We wish it
Yeah.
was just a straight down, and we wish it was the way we planned it in our head.
Right. Exactly.
Ah, let me tell
Because
you,
if
it
saying
ain't
it,
that
it'd
way.
be rainbows and tutus.
Rain- It'll be rainbows and tutu. Yes. And you know what? Who wouldn't want that? I want that
Right.
rainbow and tutu. Oh my
Right.
goodness. But still, it doesn't happen that way.
No.
So
No.
we had our little, thankfully, we were blessed to have our little girl. And
Yeah.
less than 2 years later, we were divorced.
Wow. 2 years later.
We
So
plant,
now, boom, here's another trial.
yes, less than two.
Because you
We planned this little girl.
and then boom. And you didn't and correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't get married to get divorced.
Hello, no, ma'am, not John Bolden's daughter.
You did not get, so after daughter was born, then divorce? Did you see it coming?
Less than 2 years later. I saw it 6 months before it happened. 6 months before we separated.
Wow.
Because we did everything together. We were always
Yeah.
together. We were all
Yeah.
the friends and all the other couple we hung out with. We all did
Yeah.
everything together. Y'all, let me say this for the record. It wasn't a perfect marriage. No.
Right.
We weren't perfect.
But
Arlene
you
got a
were.
mouth. I got a mouth, and he loved the party. So we weren't perfect. So I'm not trying to sit here and say, "Oh God, we had the fairy tale
Right.
life and our marriage was so yeah."
You were
No, it was.
connected.
But we were always together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell
So
you, and I love to
divorce.
say this, not divorce. And he'll tell you, he don't think I say this to people. My ex-husband is the nicest guy. He's a nice guy.
Okay. Okay.
Selfish but nice. Selfish but
Mm.
nice. But he's the nicest guy though. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I wouldn't downplay him on anything. But the one thing
Yeah.
I always say is some of the things he used to love. He comes from a place where you think black people like to party, boy.
Uh-huh.
African people party. I have never partied so much in my life. Not even in college. That's what we were doing in our 20s. We were hanging and we were enjoying life, partying. So when we had my
Right.
daughter, he still wanted to go places. And I'm like, where are you going?
Mm.
We got the little girl now.
Yeah.
What party are we going to? So it started with all the arguing and back and
Okay.
forth. And
Yeah.
and like I've told him, everyone, when I've told my story on the podcast, I
Yeah.
clearly told him this is my truth.
Yeah.
And in my truth, he met somebody else while he was out there one time.
Mm.
And
Mm.
in that truth, he said it ain't true, y'all.
Uh,
Let me tell y'all too. Y'all know me. I am positive. We are friends. We've been friends. We raised my daughter together. Thankfully, we
that's a
did it. It
blessing.
wasn't easy. I can tell y'all, I cursed him out for a straight year. I did. I cursed him out for a whole year. So
That's the truth, y'all. That
that's
is
my
the
truth.
truth. That's
I
the
cursed
truth.
him. And my daughter remember, she was young, so I could put her to bed. And if
Yeah.
he called, that was it. I don't recommend that today to nobody because I don't want nobody to do the things I know I did wrong.
Right. We women of God now. We gonna tell you to bless them.
Yes, bless him later. I cursed him out first. I can't help but tell the truth. I didn't know how to handle my anger more then.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was anger, it was disappointment, it was
Yeah.
embarrassing, it was
Yeah.
shame for me.
And you're a new
And I'm sitting here
mother.
like, huh?
And you're a new mother.
And I'm a new mother. How can you
Right.
sit here and sit here because what you're not gonna do is come in and out of our house like I don't live
Right.
here. And
Right.
those are things he never did. And so
Wow.
the time that changed it is when it was New Year's. He stayed with me and my daughter at home until midnight to say Happy New Year's, Arlene and baby, and left and went out. I'm like,
Wow.
hold on, let me drink this so I don't say something.
Leah, let's take a sip.
I know.
Wow.
HE double hockey stick. Can you just leave and go someplace? So that's what happened, Trinette. And after that happened, I'm like, and this is for me.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Yeah.
And I told people, can I be truthful again?
Yes.
I said, if he's sitting here, I might have to kill him. So, so I told him he had to leave.
Yeah.
Because what I've always said, where I always had this sense of self, what I said is you can't come in and out this house and my daughter think it's okay.
Right.
And she was a little girl I'm trying to teach to be a lady. A little girl I'm trying to show that, respect. So
yeah.
I'm like, this won't work if this is what you're going to do. And it didn't happen right away, but it happened like
Right.
probably about a month later. It wasn't long, trust me, because I'm like,
Wow.
you're not going to come in and out this house. And so, and I know I skipped over one part where when we finally, in that 2 years, I
Yeah.
knew something was wrong too when he told me that he didn't want any more kids, because in between having her and we just having a
Okay.
conversation, I wanted to ask, when you want to have a second child. So we
Yeah.
were so those are all the things that was in between that,
Okay.
having those conversations, seeing the changes in patterns and seeing how he
Yeah.
was moving differently. Those
Yeah.
things were what brought it to my attention that something was wrong, of
Okay.
course. And it made me start, raising my eyebrows, like,
Right. Mm.
okay, you do that differently now. Oh,
Right.
yeah, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, so less than 2 years after she was born, we were divorced.
Wow. So
Yes.
here it is again. You got this hump. Now you got this trial and
Yeah.
tribulation. New mother. Now I'm divorced. Now I got to navigate through life again
Oh,
with a
child.
smile on my face. So
Exactly.
now, because now your dynamics change, like
Yeah.
everything now has changed, because now you have to figure out a way of co-parenting,
Yes.
and still keep your peace with this other adult for the sake of your child. So I can imagine that went through the years of raising your daughter, co-parenting, and trying to keep the peace. And then you said you were in corporate.
Yeah.
Then you said that you got laid off 3 times.
So let me
So
say this.
going through all of this, Arlene. Whew.
Let me tell you this, to put it all in a package. When we divorced, the fearful part was, I was the one who was looking for my ex at the time. He was, making double what I made. I was only making
Yeah.
like $20,000 a year. So
Yeah.
my thing was the fear of, how am I going to do this? How am I going to raise a little girl,
Yeah.
not making enough? So it was the fear. It
Yeah.
was the fear.
Yeah.
So, and so after the divorce and after we finally settled, on that we were gonna sell the house, I stayed in the house a year
Yeah.
after the divorce. Don't ask me, that was nobody of y'all but God who paid that mortgage, because it's not that he wasn't gonna pay it. We were planning on
Yeah.
selling the house, so I was gonna take his whatever part I paid on the back end from him, because on
Okay.
Arlene's watch you don't get a penny from if I can help it. So, so we were selling our house. So sold a house. You got to find a new place to live. I'm trying to find something that I feel
Yeah.
is safe for me and my daughter now. It's just not me.
Right.
So working, and I was always and already working in corporate America.
Okay.
And when I tell y'all, it's nobody but God. After the year, my income just started increasing.
Wow.
And I promise you, it's like, that's back in the day when I think companies did give you at
Yeah.
least double-digit raises and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
normally liked pretty good at my jobs. Even though I still didn't get where I think I should have been, I
Okay.
started getting raises on top of raises. And
Wow.
it was to a point where I felt like it wasn't still, don't get me wrong, I wish it was at
Yeah.
certain levels, but
Yeah.
I'm thankful what did happen. And
Yeah.
y'all,
Yeah.
thankfully, when you don't know how it's gonna work, he makes a way. It's just,
Woo.
and I'm not saying it was easy still, but he made a way.
Right.
I got raise after raise. I was getting double-digit raises, and even my ex came to me many times. It's like, oh yeah, you big money now, huh? And because he knew how much I was making before he
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so all of that time, and then things were starting to get just comfortable because I
Yeah.
living my means, and things were getting comfortable, raising my daughter. Boom. It was still some many years later, got laid
Okay.
off. Got
Mm.
laid off from Home Depot, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do?
Wow. Right.
2009, that's when everything hit.
Yeah.
Like you said, not that one time. Then I got laid off about, I left Home Depot because I was ready to leave. I had already been there about 18 years. Left there,
Yeah.
went to another company, and went to that company, and then left and went to another one. These were smaller companies then, because I had never
Okay.
been out of Home Depot. And
Yeah.
got laid off at one of the other companies about 2 years
Wow.
later. Now, at least at Home Depot, they gave me some like a package. The second
Okay.
job gave me something. That third layoff didn't give me a penny. So,
Really?
like I tell everybody, I was laid off 3 times in 4 years. I
Wow.
It blows my mind to think that it all happened that many times.
Yeah.
And the packages were not huge, but they still, thank
Yeah.
God, it was something. And every
Right.
time, my longest time being out of work was like 6 or 7 months. I was out of
Okay.
work, never dropped a beat with my mortgage. God
Mm.
worked it out where I promise y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all to trust him if you don't do anything else.
Yeah,
Because I
she's
was
gonna
determined. I
trust
was like, I'm not paying this rent,
you.
this
Right.
mortgage. I said, I'm not paying this mortgage. And I'm not buying. I wanted to get Cobra because I get scared because I don't know what to
Yeah.
do sometimes.
Yeah.
One of my friends
Yeah.
told me, she's a girl, don't you buy that expensive Cobra. So it was, so I didn't do it. And
Yeah.
my mortgage company, I worked with them and worked with them. It was on the last layoff. That the
Okay.
first few was okay because I kind of went out of Home Depot, within into another job. So Home Depot straight
Right.
into another job. The second one,
Okay.
maybe about a month or two, I went in 2 months, I was out of work. But the
Yeah.
third one was the scary one for me. Mainly the
Mm.
scary, no, all were scary. Because
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
yeah, they all were scary. But
That
that
last
third
one,
one is that one that I'm
because that
sorry,
last one, you didn't get the money. They
I
didn't
didn't
give
get
you a
no money.
set.
Yes. I didn't
Mm.
get any money.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and still making sure, because I was always that one who saved for kind of like rainy days, put something
Yeah.
to the side. So
Yeah.
again, they were all very scary because they could not pay for my mortgage, you know, after 2 to 3 months. So it wasn't
Right.
like it was that much of a severance package, y'all. I didn't do VP severance packages. So that was employee severance packages. So yeah, I want to be clear. I don't want y'all to
You
think
couldn't go to,
I wish I
you
had it
couldn't
like that.
go across the seas and
Exactly.
travel for
Thank
7
you.
months. You didn't get that package.
Yeah, exactly. Not that kind of package. So,
Right.
but but yeah, that fourth one really I got nothing. So,
Yeah.
it's still after years of living, and then here we go again. And thankfully, that after that, my mortgage company told me they sent me a letter. I remember my daughter and I went home to South Carolina, and we just went
Yeah.
to go. I've been praying about it. We left and went to spend spring break with my dad, and when we
Yeah.
got back, I had a letter in the mail say pay only $5 per month for your mortgage.
$5.
Five. I found it. I knew I'd put it up, but I found the
Yeah.
letter again because I said, somebody is always going to need that proof. And for 6 months, they told me to only pay
Wow.
$5.
Well, dear Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah,
Y'all
that
hear that?
nobody but because let me
But
tell you what I tell everybody. I said in these companies, I know I didn't do anything wrong. I did my
right.
job. And what
Yeah.
I believe God had always promised me and my daughter after the divorce, he
Yeah.
said, I would, I always said, God, you said you would never bring us here to leave us.
Mm.
And I always stood on that. And I'm like, he'll
Yeah.
never leave me. And I
Yeah.
had to stand on that promise. Yes, but my knees shaking sometimes, y'all. I'm not I'm not that one who know all the scriptures and everything,
Right.
but I do know. So what I always tell people, I knew enough. I had to trust them because I had no choice. So the way I
Woo.
always say it, when I have no choice but to trust them, that's all I can do is trust them. Because what else am I going to do? And don't
Mhm.
get me wrong. Again, I did worry some. I did
Yeah.
cry some. I did
Yeah.
sit and like, Lord, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Everything always go back to, they say, put God's word back on himself. So, okay, you're not going to leave us. So I'm going to trust you. And I
Mm.
promise you $5 for 6 months. And this is what I tell everybody today. If I was to get laid off again, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna get nervous again. So
Yeah.
it's not like the only thing they always say, you just have to go back to the remembrance of what he's already done for you before. That's what I would have to do. But it's not that I won't be scared or
Yeah. Yeah.
nervous, but
Yeah.
I definitely know that he did it before, he'll do it
Yeah.
again.
It's like I'm gonna
So
double up on that $5.
no, no, exactly.
I'm
And,
gonna pay
and
up for 6 months.
exactly. That's why I always say, you know what? There, if you trust them, he won't leave you. He'll do. Don't get me wrong. I don't understand why still I see some people go through what they go through because it scares me. I got a friend who does business and I don't know how they do it because it
Yeah.
seems like it seems like blow after blow. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know the story, but God always know the timing and the right timing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean
Yeah.
that they do anything wrong. They
Right.
say the bigger the struggle, the bigger the reward too. I
Yeah.
guess that's what it is for some people. Because I don't want to go through what some people go through. I must admit,
Listen.
I don't.
I thank God every day. I'm like, okay, Jesus, I hear you. I
Yes.
understand. But when you look at your story and you look at your path and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, God, you know how people will say, "Oh, child, it couldn't be me." You're right. It couldn't be
Yes.
you because
It
that
couldn't.
wasn't your struggle.
Yeah.
Everybody is designed for their struggle because some stuff
Yes.
I look at and I'm like, "Oh, Jesus, I don't know if I could have
Thank
handled
you.
this, that, and the other." While people are
Mhm.
looking at me and you like, "Oh, I don't know if I can handle that, girl." You're
Exactly.
right. It
You're
wasn't
right.
for you,
For you.
and that's why I
Yep.
tell women now, your struggle, believe it or not, is designed for
For
you.
you. And don't
And
think you understand mine. Or,
exactly.
be there for me, but don't think
Right.
you or just be careful how you advise me on some things.
Yes, yes,
Because hear me
yes,
sometimes when I want to complain. You should have a friend or that core group too, like you said, that you can
yeah,
come to and say, I'm struggling, or
yeah,
it's hard, or
yeah,
and we're there. We're supposed to be there to say, I hear you. Even I don't understand,
yeah.
but
I
I
don't
hear
exactly,
you.
but I hear you.
Yeah, I hear you. That's what people need.
Wow.
Yeah.
Arlene, you're just to look before we wrap up, and we could
Yeah.
talk all night.
Yeah,
I
we'll talk. I know. I know. I'm
but
sorry, y'all, if I got off track because I should have stayed
no,
on.
you did not. You did not. You did not get off track. You know why? I'm looking and I wanna I don't know if other people can see this. And this is
Mhm.
again, this is Woman on Fire, Testimonies of Triumph.
Yes.
But I'm looking at Arlene now. And if you can see the screen, there is a cross behind you on your wall.
Wow.
I'm gonna try to take
I
a
see it.
picture. You see it.
Yeah, I
You
see
see
it.
it.
It's like well, my camera was over here, so it's to this side to me. To me.
That cross has been there since you started. And at first I was
Mm.
like, okay, I thought it was the
Mhm.
sunlight.
Yeah.
And I kept looking at it and I said, oh my God.
Wow.
So that lets you know right there that is divine order.
I will
Your
cover.
story, your testimony
Yes.
is going to bless so many, Arlene,
I hope
because
so.
again, your sweet, gentle voice is what women need to hear, especially in these
Yeah.
times. It
Yeah.
you cover just about what a woman is going through or has
Yeah.
gone through. Death.
Yes.
Death not just in the physical of losing your parents,
Yes.
but in a divorce,
Yeah.
then losing, your first job.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of grievance. But
And losing my best friend even later,
oh yeah,
years later. We gonna talk.
yeah,
I noticed, but I wanted to just say this here. How about
yeah,
my best friend when I lost her? She was 41. She had just turned 41, and her
yeah.
son was 12 years old when she passed. And he's my godson. So
Wow.
that was the first time, even before my dad, she was the first one as my young adult life that I'm sitting here like losing some. That was my soulmate of a best friend. If
Yeah,
nobody ever out there don't understand a soulmate of a friend,
yeah,
that's who she was to me. And
yeah,
promise you, look how God did that to lose her. And her son was 12, and I was 12 when I lost my mom. So
yeah,
this is what I tell everybody. My experience taught me how to be there for him.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop you. I just wanted to make sure
No,
and
no,
put
no,
that in there
no.
because
No.
that was shocking to me to have. I never would have imagined because we're all supposed to be now doing our golden, not we go well,
Yeah,
living our life now because she was in our because our kids are in their 20s now. And
yeah.
yeah, when I lost her, that was another painful, hard situation. hard.
Wow.
So
So
I
we're gonna have to bring you back.
yeah,
Because again, and before we wrap up, tell
yes,
us the podcast that you have. I
yes,
again, Arlene, I thank you so much for your story and just willing to share, and for me, you have helped me, you have blessed me so
mhm,
much on this journey. And just to again, I can't emphasize the sweet, gentle voice that you have. So tell us about your path, the path, tell us
yes.
about your podcast.
Okay. So I can hurry up. Let me just say this here, everyone. I don't know if you noticed it, but I may sound a little nasally. So I hope you forgive me for that. Thank you for Trinette for still having me. And y'all,
Listen,
Trinette says that about me, but Trinette don't realize how she blessed all of us. Trinette shows me. I always say she walks and exudes love. She walks with peace. She walks with understanding. She wants to everybody to be happy. She looks like the cute tutu and lady that we see that makes everything feel wonderful. She's beautiful
yeah,
not only on the outside, on the inside.
yeah,
And you don't know how much you help us. You show us how to be human beings. You
mm,
show your kindness. You show your love. I just pray that what God has for you will blow your mind so
mm,
till it shocks you, and I hope you receive even more than you expect. So let me
mm.
say that, and let me
Wow.
thank you and your wonderful guests out there for having me. But for sake of time, because see, that's the problem, y'all, she can't have me because I talk too much, and that's why
It's
I got
good
a
organic
podcast.
conversation. It is organic conversation. It is not forced. This is Arlene all the time, you guys. She's going to give you the truth, the sweetness of it, and you just be like, "Oh, I really don't have an issue then, huh? I don't have no problem," because she just told me, and that's what we need. That's what we
Yeah,
need as women.
I hope
Oh,
so.
okay.
My thing is always I want every woman to walk in her power. That is, let me tell everybody, after I went through my divorce, that's what made me. I wrote down, I was mad and I was angry about stuff because of how it happened. And I always knew I wanted every woman to find her voice. I wanted every woman to speak her truth. I wanted every woman to come out of whatever situation that they were in to walk in her fullness because we
Yeah.
are powerful. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We're not powerful where our egos get in the way, but powerful because we are gifted to do so much in this world and we minimize ourselves because
Yeah.
of our divorce, the
Yeah.
being hurt and we live in so much pain, I think, because we're trying to raise our children and we're trying to take
Yeah.
care of our husbands, some of us, and we're
Yeah.
trying to start businesses and we just shrink into who we truly are supposed to be. So
Yeah.
I started the podcast after the divorce because I wanted. I wrote it down years ago, but I just started the
Yeah.
podcast about 3 years ago. We talked to bold women who have gone through obstacles in their
Yeah.
life, turn them into opportunities of businesses, of just finding themselves and just
Yeah.
letting people know that they're not alone and that they can do it too. And my
Yeah.
goal is always, I always tell everybody, I'm your motivator, I'm your confidence builder. I'm the one who believes that purpose is truly
Yeah.
bigger than obstacles.
Yeah.
My purpose is bigger than my divorce. I work in my
Mm.
church's divorce ministry now, helping other women. I think I'm about tired of it, but I'm here
Yeah.
until God tells me to move. But
Yeah.
my purpose is bigger than the obstacle I went through. We go
Mm.
through these things for reasons. We don't like it. I don't like it. I didn't
Right.
like any of it. But I
Yeah.
want another person out there, this beautiful queen looking at this right now, to know she's not
Mm.
alone. And
Yeah.
and if I can come out of that divorce friends with my ex, letting my daughter see that we can co-parent,
Yeah.
helping my godson who lost his mother at 12 after me
Yeah.
losing my mother at 12,
Yeah.
telling everybody else that laid off, trust him
Mhm.
because he can take care of that mortgage until you need him. That's why
Mhm.
I'm here. And I'm
Mm.
here to walk and do the things that he's told me to do and to share my story and to let
Mm.
everybody else share theirs. So that's what the podcast is about. We're bold women, and that's what we highlight.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thank you so much, Arlene, just for being obedient and just sharing your testimony. You truly are a woman on fire. I am so blessed to have you in my circle. Y'all better get one of these. What is it? A chicken salad. This the ultimate.
So if you
Y'all
need a
better get
speaker, hey, I'm coming to speak. Let me know. I'll come to your event. I can motivate
she
you from afar.
yes. She is all of that, and she is organic. She is truth, and that's what I like. What I love about her. And again, you don't want to just everybody in your circle.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got to have authentic women. You have to have authentic village. And I wrote
Yeah.
down something throughout throughout your entire life, from losing your mother and on, you were surrounded by love. And
Yes.
that was so vital for you.
Yes.
You were surrounded by love in all of your trials and tribulations. And
Yes.
that is a blessing that many
Amen.
women unfortunately don't have.
Hmm.
So you were able to come today and to share with us and share with other women on your podcast that
Yes.
no matter what, like you said, God is in control. God is
Yeah.
going to take care of us. No, it does
Yes.
not look pretty.
Not
We
all the
don't
time. Mhm.
choose it.
No.
We
No,
don't choose
ma'am.
it. However, you have been determined to keep it moving and still give God the glory for all of it. And I
Yes.
just thank you so much again, Arlene. You just don't
Thank
know.
you.
You blessed me tonight.
Yeah.
Uh continue continuously blessing me, but tonight you bless me even
Thank
more.
you.
So I thank you so much for your time, and I'm always your supporter, biggest fan,
Same.
biggest cheerleader. I can't
Same.
wait to hear more from you. Do we expect anything more? Do we have anything?
It's some things I'm trying to work on that I'm,
Okay.
yes, yes, trying to get in the
Okay.
speaking world and business
Yeah.
world and all of those things is coming.
Yeah.
I hope. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Wow. Thank you. So, ladies, please, please, please make sure you connect with Woman on Fire podcast. But I want you to connect with the Path podcast. It will bless your soul.
Mhm.
And again, is there any last words you want to leave our women?
I just want to thank everyone. The one thing I always say, my daughter said it's corny, but my crown is not complete until every woman wears her crown proudly. That's the
Yeah.
way I'm gonna leave it because I'll keep talking.
But I love
Thank
it.
you
I
again.
love it.
That's thank you again.
I love it. And again, you guys, thank you all so much for joining me. Make sure you stay connected. And if you want to be a guest on Woman on Fire podcast, please visit IamTrinetteLCollier.com and you will see the information. But ladies, I want you to understand that we go through the trials and
Yes.
tribulations. We're going to go through them. That
Yeah.
is life in what they call it
Mhm.
now, life in.
Life,
But God
life be
is
life.
it's like right, it's life in, but God is bigger. God is bigger. And every
Mhm.
day that I wake up, I promise myself and I promise God every day that He wakes me, I'm going to give it my best and I'm going to live my best. Now, does
Yeah.
that mean jumping out of a plane? Nope, that's not for me. That's not living my best life. I don't want to jump out of a plane, but
Yes.
I'm going to determined to give God the glory in everything that's happening.
Yes.
So thank you all so much for joining us and stay connected to Woman on
Yes.
Fire, Testimonies of Triumphs. Whew.
Yes.
Arlene. All right, y'all. We'll be back. Bye, y'all.